Hello everyone, and welcome to my review of the Object 705. The power creep continues. Now, when it comes to this tank, you can't really compare it to the IS-7 since their playstyle is pretty different. So, instead, I shall be comparing this tank to my oh-so-beloved VK7201K, and would ya? Would you look at those three marks there? But anyway, these two tanks have a fairly similar playstyle, fairly similar armor, although I'll show you the glaring differences in a bit. And overall, their playstyle is fairly similar, given some pretty interesting differences. But either way, we shall be looking at the 705 versus the VK7201. Here we go. Alright, so here we are in Tanks GG, checking out the models. Here we have my oh so beloved VK, and here we have the Object 705. Now, the VK, as you guys may know, is and has been one of my favorite, if not my favorite, heavy tank in this game for the past year because, oh man, heavy armor, the best mobility for a German super heavy, and a gun that just punches. However, when we put it up against the 705, things might start to break down for it. So the first thing you might notice, or really the first thing you should notice at all, is that both of these tanks are rear-turreted heavies. The VK a bit more than the 705. The 705 is more like right behind the middle, but rear-turreted nonetheless. Now, the interesting thing about the VK7201K, or if you want to talk about the Panzer, but armor-wise, they're basically the same thing. Now, when it comes to the VK, when you try to side scrape in this tank, you have this massive glaring weak spot that is just a, hey, what's up you guys, you want to shoot me? Here's a free pen. No matter what the team is shooting, tier 8s will be able to penetrate you from here. Tier 8s, I mean, look at that. Look at this. If they get lucky and someone somehow hit there as well. It's 200 millimeters effective right there. And sure, you could just look straight forward at the enemy, but then, lo and behold, your lower plate has been shown. So the tactic that most people have formed, instead of having the wall on this side, poking out and doing that to try and get your shots off, most people, or at least people who own the VK, will usually poke out like this, exposing most of their front, but their front is usually 300 millimeters effective. However, when enemies are firing heat, like let's say an E100 is going up against us, and he's firing heat, and we're gonna go ahead and side scrape. You can already see that there's really no way, unless you do this and try to bait a shot from him. Really, there's no way you're going to be able to bounce any shots. However, when it comes to the Object 705A, if we compare it to an E100 firing heat rounds, you'll start to see something different. Now, this tank is quite a bit different. Now, as you can see, this tank has a higher chance of bouncing. The entire hull front is close to 400 millimeters. Here on the tracks, it is pretty much just absorbed. The E100 would have to get lucky and just feather a shot into here. And you would effectively be side scraping at this angle. You'd effectively be side scraping from this angle here, or maybe even more of an angle. Around about here, I'd say. And if you wiggle and move back and forth like that, there's a really low chance that the enemy will have a shot on you. And for that reason, I think the 705A is maybe a little bit overpowered right now. But you might say, oh, Tivis, come on. A tank that heavily armored has bound to be at least slow or something. There's got to be like some sort of drawback. To that I say, no. Let's take a look at the in-game stats, shall we? Alright, so here's the VK. Heavy armor, and as you would expect, it's got a 9.97 specific horsepower to weight ratio with a 33 top speed. But when we go to the 705, oh, and take note that the engine power is 1,200. We go over to the 705. But when we look at the 705A, you will immediately see that this thing not only goes faster, but it's got a 15 horsepower to weight ratio. So how's this thing supposed to compete with this? So not only is it automatically better at side scraping than this guy, but it goes faster, has better armor. The view range is less though, so don't worry about that. It's ever so slightly less. But this tank as well also doesn't have the same turret weak spots that this guy has. I don't know how I feel about this thing. Yeah, it honestly was quite a bit of fun to play it because it's pretty strong, but I don't really know how I feel about it. I mean, I've 3-marked the VK, as you can see, even though it's on the test server. I didn't actually 3-mark it in the actual game. I just managed to 3-mark it here. Point is, after playing this thing so long, after I've played just a few games in this, I can already tell it is far superior than this. And don't worry, I've played this thing on the test server as well, just to make sure I wasn't crazy. But this thing is pretty damn strong. Pretty damn strong indeed. So, let's check out some gameplay. Alright, so, to basically explain what this tank can do, we are going to be watching a battle on Fjords. This was actually the best battle I had in the test server. Quite a good one, I might add. Although the beginning, yep, I get cock-blocked by Jagdpanzer 100. So I shoot at the ground angrily, and he just types AXAXA. Haha, comrade. Very funny, comrade. Anyway, I'm going to be heading over to the lower corner of the map, down to where most of the heavy tanks usually go. And I shall be taking the route which everyone should take when they go there. It protects you from all of the people going middle. However, once you get all the way to the bottom, you can actually take shots at people in the middle, as you are about to see. Yep, here I notice, oh, hello. Now let's see, will I be able to get a shot? Yes, I will. Now let's see if we can get another one. Oh. Oh, no, he's behind a rock. Oh, maybe this pattern? No. Oh, there we go. Barely even a minute and a half into the game and already I have 1,200 damage. Sweet. And now, we're going to be using this rock soon to side scrape and hold back all of the enemies you see before you. There. Here we go. We shall now use strong Russian side armor, comrade. Effective use 12,000%. this guy is showing me his front, and that, as I showed you in the Tanks GG, is a very big weak spot. Now, I'm going to shoot at the Super Conqueror. The Super Conqueror usually, or has very good armor, but not when you're on flat ground, because you show the entirety of your lower plate, and apparently this guy doesn't get the drift that he's supposed to be using the hill right behind him to crest over and hide his lower plate, and he's literally just sitting there showing me everything. Russian side armor is doing its work. Now here I think they're going to charge in, but then I see that they stop, so I go back to take another shot. And the Jagdpanzer kills that guy. Put a shot into that, and that's 705. And then he starts YOLOing, but he bounces his shot. Oh, poor man. He does track me though, but I repair it immediately. And now, who will win between me and him? Of course, I back up, and he bounces again. He gets absorbed into the tracks. Oh boy. And at this point, this Conqueror was going to kill the Yag, and I'm like, no you don't. So I dive in and protect the Yag, and then the Yag kills him. Great teamwork between myself and that Jagdpanzer that blocked me earlier. And here is the end of the replay. So, in the end, I must say, this thing, at least right now, I feel is a bit too strong. Especially with the mobility and everything that it has going for it. When it comes up against something like this. Although, thinking on it really, it's not really that strong. Because the moment you load heat, you can pretty much go through the entirety of the front. However, I would love to see this thing buffed. At least for Wargaming to get rid of that horrible, horrible weak spot. Because, hold on, let me just show you guys. The succession of the line doesn't really make sense. Because when you go up to the 4502A, this thing doesn't have a sort of bulging weak spot on the side. In fact, it has, although it's only 80 millimeters, it's not some bulge that's just sticking out. Along with the VK 4502B, which has 120 millimeters. And then all of a sudden, when you get up to tier 10 with the Panzer Kampfwagen 7, you have to completely relearn everything, because now you have this big weak spot on the back. That would be something I would love for Wargaming to fix. However, it's Wargaming, so I don't know if they'll actually do it. But overall, I have to say this thing is mostly balanced, although quite strong. Do I agree with everything? No. Am I a bit salty that it's a lot, well, pretty much superior to this tank? Yeah, I am. But I guess we shall just have to wait and see what Wargaming does. Anyway, I've been Tivis7. I will see you guys in the next one.